Hey, what's up, guys? Shuckle King here, and I'm back. It's been a while since I've done my last video. Uh, I guess I just been busy in real life. I moved a couple months ago. I moved in with one of my best friends from college, and it's been a blast. It's really been a lot of fun, so I really haven't cared to record recently. So sorry about that. Oh boy, I guess for this league they have the draft analysis with my head. I guess I have to put in the middle here too. Oh man, I haven't shaved. Let me go do that. I'll be right back. Alright, that's better. So, yeah, again, I'm sorry about the IVA. There's just, I was 5 or 6-0 at the point where I left the league. There's just a week or two where people didn't reach out to me about trying to play battles, and there's just been general lost interest. A couple of people left, so unfortunate for that. Hopefully it works out for everybody else there, but I'm excited for the cast of people we have in this league. A couple of people I've played before and a couple of people that I've wanted to play, so it's definitely a good mix. But the goal of this draft for the Eon World Tourney, which is a really cool name, by the way. It's weird, but I've told my reasonings to Otto, but it's actually a pretty cool name, and the logo is really sick. I'm really excited about this all, but the goal of this league is to have fun, but I still want to have a cohesive team. Like, I want to win this league. What was it? I'm in the finals right now for Jacko for an APA league, and I recently won A-Drive's Army Battle League. There's 3 different divisions there, and I won my division out of the 1 out of the 3. So, end this 7th gen on a pretty high note. I'd be pretty happy about that. So, maybe try some new things, maybe pay homage to mons that I've liked before, maybe try some mons that I know won't be around for the next generations, like any legendaries besides Mew and Mewtwo. I don't think are coming back into the Gen 8 games, so maybe pick up a couple legendaries. But this league is 1,000 points, and we have to pick 11 mons. Megas usually will give you a couple extra points. If you take a top tier mega, you actually lose 20 points. Basically a tier 2 mega, which are still really great megas in that tier, like Scizor and Alakazam, they give you 0 points, and then if you take megas below that, they give you points. So it's a cool way there. Essentially, this league is a points-based draft where all the mons are even numbered values between 2 and 20. So there's a tier 200, which just basically means it's 200 out of your 100, or 20 out of your 100 points. I was looking at it that way too. Just taken off at 0 and just said if I picked them on in the highest tier, it'd be 20 points out of 100, which is a 5th year point, which is a lot. So it's something you have to consider if you want to pick something that high up there. And I had a 6th pick, which I'm honestly fine getting the middle pick. I know a lot of people complain about middle's the worst. You want to get towards the end of the wheels. I actually want to compile that data together, see if that's actually true or not. Like, if the teams that did really well are usually at the higher in the end. I'm not convinced that's the case, but regardless, had the 6th pick. The goal is to get Celesteela, Mega Latios, Mew, or Tapu Koko. If all 4 of those are taken, which honestly is probable, then I would go Landers T. I had really good success with it in the A-Drive Army League. I think it came 3rd in my team in kills, though. My team was stupid with Mega Scizor in 1st in kills and then Latios in 2nd in kills. So I had a crazy team. If I was able to get all 3 of those on one team. But if that was taken, there's Kieran Black for 200 or 20 points, but I feel like that's not worth it. If I'm spending a 5th of my points for Kieran Black, I'd probably go with Zeraora or even a cool Mega, but probably Zeraora just because it was 106 or 16 points out of 200, which is pretty good value, and I could get a good Mega later on, hopefully like a Mega Galliot or Mega Lopunny. The first pick was Lando T, then Kieran Black, so I was happy about Kieran Black going and Lando T, so I knew I was able to get 1 out of the 4 mons. Coco went 3rd, so not surprised there. Celesteela went 4th, also not surprised. I was hoping I was going to drop, but it didn't. And the 5th pick was Jirachi, which I would call surprising, but regardless, you wouldn't be able to use it again, so I understand it. So I had the option of Mew or Mega Latios with my pick. I asked maybe 6 to 8 people, asking them what I should pick, so I didn't think either of them were going to be there. I thought maybe one, definitely not both. And about half and half told me to get Mew, and the other half told me to get Mega Latios. So it was pretty tough to choose between the two, but I figured I can get a good Mega later on in the draft, and I can't really pass up on Mew. For DPL, I've been having a great time playing with Mew. I would pick the Mew teams both for Auras and for Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, and having fun just playing with a bunch of offensive sets. I swept a game with a Sword Stand set. I tried a Choice Spec set, so there's a lot of cool options with Mew. So much versatility, as well as being one of the greatest defensive Pokemon in the game with Will-O-Wisp and Roost, and having really nice speed. The Psychic typing is really nice. It's weak to Bug, Ghost, and Dark, but Ghost aren't that common. I think there's 4 Ghost types that were picked in this draft, so I'm not really worried about that. Bug is problematic with U-Turn, but U-Turn's only a base 70 move, so it's not that powerful. Dark's a little bit more problematic as a knockoff being so prevalent. A Colbur Berry Mew can definitely be ran, but I'm going to definitely bring a mix of offensive and defensive Mew. But it gets Rocks, it gets Defog, any types of moves you want. I believe Baton Pass is banned unless if it's dry passing, so no stat boost, which lowers the value of Mew a little bit. As well as Medium Z is banned, which I don't agree with, but that's fine. But Mew is still a really good Z move option, so I'm going to consider that. I have 20 points to use for my Z mon, so I picked Mew. That would be the only mon I can use Z move axes with, but that's okay. Mew is just so much versatility with all the moves that it can run. In the second pick, I figured I'd get a really good Mega, so look at that, I got Mega Latios. I was shocked. I had no assumption that it was going to come back to me, so I had to pick it. Even though I have 2 Psychic types, I don't care. I said Ghost types. There's only 4 that were picked. It was Gengar, which would be problematic for the core. Cofagrigus, don't really care about. Latios can hit it really hard. Mew can hit it hard. Decidueye, which isn't honestly even that much of a Ghost type, and the other 2 can beat it. And Mega Banette, which honestly could be problematic for the 2, but it's a Mega Banette. I could figure out ways around it. But Mega Latios, it's great special attacking wise, and Latios, I said before, I had great success with in the A-Drive League, but it really can't go physical. And Mega Latios is really cool because it can go physical or special attacking. It can be a breaker or a sweeper. It hits just as hard on the special side as Expert Belt Latios, so it doesn't hit as hard as Life Orb, but it still hits really hard, and what's nice about it is not knockoff weak. It still takes super effective damage from knockoff, but you're not going to be removing the item, so knockoff's a lot weaker, so that's definitely a plus. Plus, Latios has a little bit more bulk, so Latios is just really cool Mega. Didn't think it was going to come back, but I love this insane offensive core that I have here, and it's an okay defensive core, but what next couple of mons I have, I think it matches up really well. Again, I don't really care about the dual typings as early on in the draft, but I probably won't draft another Psychic. And I've used a decent amount. I used the most amount of points I could possible, I guess, unless if I could pick 2 tier 20s, but all the 20-point mons were picked by my next go-around. I had to be more conservative with my points, and I do have to get Ghost, Bug, and Dark Resists. And Klefki would have been a really nice pick here, because I wanted Spikes. But I went with a better value mon, I feel like. Klefki, I think, was 10 points, but I went with 12-point Ferrothorn instead. And I've also loved using Ferrothorn. But I would have gotten Greninja for a round, but Auto took it round 2. So definitely understandable there. It's a great value for 14-point Greninja, especially because it does have T-Spikes. But I get Ferrothorn instead. Ferrothorn's another rocker to pair with Mew. It's a secondary electric resist with Latios, so Electrics commonly have to figure out if they run Hidden Power Ice or Hidden Power Fire. Ice hits Ferrothorn neutrally, but doesn't really do that much. With Lead Seed, I should be able to break through Electrics, so you'd have to run Hidden Power Fire, and then Latios just runs Havoc. So that's pretty problematic there. Ferrothorn has a couple cool offensive options, but Gyro Ball hits really hard, and Power Whips just with the high base power. Even if attacks isn't great, it's not going to be a passive wall, and it has Leaf Seed, and of course Thunder Wave. So really cool options here with Ferrothorn. Solid defensive core doesn't really solve specifically the type weaknesses, but it takes Go Assist fine. It takes knockoffs fine, and it also has Iron Barbs to kind of deter knockoffs, so I'm fine with this. So I do want to get a Dark type eventually, and I was considering a last round Dark type that I figured would still be around, but I forego that plan and then instead get a dark type this round that's also grounded poison, which I think I always grab a grounded poison just that toxic spikes aren't an issue. And I'm going to bring my own hazards to stack with Ferrothorn, which is Drapion. Drapion is really nice it has a decent attack stat with Sword Stance, and I believe its agility is the speed boosting move. Yeah, agility. So it could be a sweeper, probably not for the most part, but it has toxic spikes and it takes on ghost types really well. Could be a surprise choice Scarf user. It definitely has decent attacking capabilities there. So I like Drapion in this slot here. Could have gone with Alolan Muck, but it was a little, I think it was like 40 or 60 points more than Drapion, and Drapion provides toxic spikes, so that's a no-brainer right there. So I spend almost half my points already, even considering that like my Mega was essentially free points or like maybe even 0 points to spend on it. So I still have to be pretty conservative with my points here, so I have to watch out for that. So I have my Ghost Resist and Drapion pretty well. I don't even know if I need to get one for the rest of the draft. I might get one, but I do need a Bug Resist and a Dark Resist. So a Fairy type naturally makes sense because you wanted Fairy on just about any draft, though I wouldn't say it's like the most important type to get. Fairies are still nice. And I considered Florges, but Harris told me it was bad, so I wasn't going to get it, and it was picked one pick before me anyways, so I guess I can't get that. But essentially I'm the 6th pick, so there's 5 people that pick before me for rounds 1, 3, 5, the odd numbers, and there's 6 people that pick after me for 2, 4, and 6. So there's a little bit less people on the odd numbers, so I try to pick a core between like Mons 2 and 3, and then 4 and 5, and so forth and so forth. Just to try to snipe people in the top 5 picks before the bottom 6. Doesn't make that much of a difference, but Florges was picked, was unfortunate. Considered Togekiss, but it was 120 points, and again I had to be conservative with my points, even though that's a fair price for Togekiss. And it would have given me another ground immunity, but I went with Diancie. So I feel like I haven't liked Diancie in the past just because it's not the greatest flying resist, because a lot of flying types have Steel Wing, and it'll die to a lot of like a Brave Bird plus or a Hurricane plus a Steel move, which is unfortunate. If I run Berry, that's fine. So there's a little bit less flexibility with Diancie if it wants to be a flying type resist, but it's also a bug and dark type resist. Resists a lot of nice typings there. It's another rocker to pair of Ferrothorn and Mew, and I could basically take any hit as long as I had the berry associated with it, and it hits decently hard with Moonblast and Diamond Storm. That's a pretty good combination there, as well as Earth Power for coverage. So I have my somewhat like budget defensive core with Ferrothorn, Drapion, Diancie, and then I have Mew and Latios, and that can both be bulky, especially Latios. Mega Latios can be bulky just because of being weak, not weak to knockoff. And they can both also set up sweep. So I'm a little ground weak, I would say. Latios is my immunity, otherwise I don't have a resist. I'm somewhat rock weak. Oh boy. Ferrothorn is there that takes on rock types, but otherwise strong rock types like Terrakion would be pretty problematic for me. I don't have an ice resist yet because I picked Ferrothorn instead of Klefki. I don't have momentum. Like Mew can run U-turn or Volt Switch, but it doesn't really want to for the most part. I don't have great Choice Scarf option on the team at this point. Again, Drapion and Mew could do it, but they don't really want to. They'd probably be running it maybe once this season. Not even that, most likely. I need Z users. Mew's certainly an option, but I'll reveal at the end of the draft what I decide to go with later. I also don't have many reliable physical attackers. Latios is usually specialist because of its insanely high special attack. Drapion is physical, but it's not going to be fulfilling that role as a breaker for the most part. And would like a little bit more different speed. I have nothing between 50 and 95 speed and anything past 110. So I'd like something in those speed gaps. So on this next pick, I was considering Mienshao, but outside of the speed tier, and it's a Scarfer, I really didn't like what it offered, even though I think it's a really good value for 100 points. But I went with a different 100-point mon instead that probably even hits harder than Mienshao, as crazy as that sounds, which is Darmanitan. Darmanitan's very straightforward. It's a nice resist-ish, but it hits really, really hard with Flare Blitz. and it'll run U-turn. And that's pretty much all you're going to do with it. It gets Rock Slide, sure. It gets Earthquake, sure. But it can run Scarf and be very dangerous with its high attack stat. Or I could be Life Orb or Abandon and just nuke something that's not expecting to take maybe 2 hits because I'm Choice Scarf, but look at that. Could also be Belly Drum with Salic Berry. Seems like a pretty cool set. There's definitely options there. It's also a Grass Resist and a Grass Deterrent to pair with Latios and Drapion, which is pretty cool. But a mon I considered instead of Dormanitan was Diggersby. It has a nice speed tier for what I'm looking for in like the 70s range. So those mons in that speed tier don't have to that have to run speed in order to add speed stuff. Otherwise, they can just run max bulk, which would be a little annoying, but not the end of the world. And Diggersby also has priority. It's another ghost answer. And it's a ground type. So it had a lot of going for it, but I wanted another ground type that seemed like it had really good value for the tier it was in. And I was really surprised it was still around. And something I haven't used before, which is Doug Trio. So Doug Trio is a nice speed base 120. So faster than the 110, which I was looking for. Another electric answer to pair with Latios and Ferrothorn. It forces electrics in a weird role. Oh gosh. That it can run Shed Shell, sure, and avoid Doug Trio, but then it's not going to be hitting as hard, or it's not going to be Scarfed. It could be Shucka, which sure, you'll live a hit with not much HP remaining, and then kill me off, then I can revenge you pretty easily. Or if you're like Tapu Koko, you'd have to be Scarfed, or otherwise I can run Scarf, Doug Trio, and kill you. So I force my opponents into bringing essentially non-boosting items with their electric types, which is something I'll definitely appreciate, because boosted electric types can be pretty problematic. And it's another rocker for my team, which pairs with Diancie, pairs with Ferrothorn, pairs with Mew. So got a lot of options there. Has priority with Sucker Punch, not as good as Quick Attack from Darmanitan, but it's usable for sure. And could be a Z-move user, but I'm not definitive yet at this point for Doug Trio. No. And I guess I can say, by the way, at this point in the draft, I had an idea of every other mon that I wanted by pick 5. Probably by the time I picked Diancie, I knew everything that I wanted. Maybe even by the time I picked Drapion. But at this point in the draft, I have 320 points left. And I have to pick 4 mons. So I still have the possibility of picking a top tier pick and 3 middling mons to round the team out, or I could pick like 4 80-point mons, but that seems pretty boring. And 4 teams at this point had enough points to get the mon that I wanted. But I was helping out Kelly, and I knew he didn't want the mon I wanted. And I figured Zohan didn't want it either. So Marald or Kershaka could get what I wanted. In particular, I thought Kershaka's team would actually be perfect with the mon I was targeting. But I was adamant about waiting until the very end to get this mon, and in the off chance that he did pick it, that I could pick another backup mon that would work in the role anyway. So I was pretty confident for the next pick I was going to get Aerodactyl, as not many teams could actually realistically afford it at this point. But Obo did. He had 180 points left for his last 4 mons, and he spent 80 points for Aerodactyl, which means he has 100 points for the last 3 mons. So I was pretty surprised about that, but I guess it was my fault for telling him that his team was a little bit slow at the time, but his team is crazy, by the way. Make sure you check out his video. But unfortunately, I couldn't get Aerodactyl there. It would have been really cool with the base 130 mon and another rocker, but I went with an old reliable that does a lot of what Aerodactyl does, and you guys should know by this time it's Archeops. So Archeops might be my most underrated Draft League mon. I feel like at this point, actually, I don't know. Maybe the mon I picked last is what I feel like is most underrated. But Archeops, it has a sucky ability to Fetus, but what's cool about it, I feel like I never get it into Fetus range. Either it does a lot of damage early on in the match and then it dies, or gets revenge killed by whatever, and doesn't fall under 50%, it just dies because of how frail it is. Or it just, after a couple stealth rock damage, I sack it off after it does a big hit or whatever. It also has head smash, so it could, force to kill itself, which is cool, and do a lot of damage in the process. But Archeops, I just love them on. It's a 110 speed, so I have a lot of mons that are in that speed range, which is unfortunate, but it can be a choice scarfer. I've run choice scarfed. Archeops in the past, it helped me win my round 1 game for APA. It's another rocker, so my 6th. Gives me momentum to pair with Darmanitan and Mew, which is cool. And it's another physical attacker to go with Dugtrio and to go with Darmanitan. So now I feel like I have decent physical attacking options to pair with Megalodios and Mew. Mew, I guess, more of a special attacker. So going with Archeops over Aerodactyl means I don't have to get Munchlax for 20 points, which John Jr. ended up drafting Munchlax, which is pretty funny that we were both on the same page there. So now I could get a 60-point Mon at this point instead. So I had 4 options, and I was basically looking for an Ice Resist. So I had Hariyama, Magneton, Lickilicky, and Piloswine. And all were cool Mons and all had different techs. And now Lickilicky is not an Ice Resist, but it basically will eat up any special ice move, like an Ice Beam's not going to do that much to it. So, but what I went with instead was Hariyama. I've never used it before. It's a priority user to go with Dugtrio and I guess Mew. But Hariyama is definitely the best priority user with Fake Out and Bullet Punch. It has Thick That, so it can take Ice Hits and Fire Hits really well. It's a Dark Resist, which is nice that Munchlax was not. And I do have DNC and Drapion, and I guess like Mew with Colbur Berry can do it, but it gives more options for Dark types to kind of deter them from coming. I've had success with slow fighting types in the past. Conkeldurr got me into NPL, winning that league, the tryout tournament for the NPL, and Mega Heracross has been doing work. It was second place for MVP for the APA League I'm in. Both those times they allowed Speed Pass, which is broken. But besides that, I have a way to pair Hariyama with Speed Control with my next pick. And here it is, Shuckle. Oh boy, I had to get the mascot. I considered going Absol, as I said before, but when Greninja was picked, I would have gone with dual Dark types. But thinking about it, I had to go like Shuckle, so I went Drapion and changed my draft at that point. It has 4 of the lowest stats in the game in its HP attack, special attack, and speed, but we ignore that because it has the 2 highest stats in the game in its defense and its special defense. And I don't think any other Pokemon can claim to fame that it has 2 of the highest stats in the game, which is crazy. Contrary, Shell Smash can definitely be annoying to take down, and I feel like I'm probably not going to break it. Hopefully I do. Hopefully I take some sense into me, but it's primary Elite Stealth Rocker, which it's my 7th Stealth Rocker now. Has Sticky Webs, which pairs with the Hariyama and pairs with a couple of Mons, including my last Mon here. And has Encore Toxic, Final Gamut. Final Gamut's cool, even though its HP stat again is atrocious. It essentially gives a free switch in to another Mon. So I can Encore plus Final Gamut into something. It's going to be cool. I'll just go with the namesake and go with the Shuckle. Oh boy. But so I was building this, I said before, maybe since like pick 4 or 5, I was building the team around this last Pokemon. I felt like everybody was really hyping this Pokemon really early on in the gen, but quickly felt overrated as like the primary set that seemed broken wasn't really that bad, and it took a long time to get it set up. But actually I feel like it's pretty underrated at this point. And it's also 6-foot Hex's probably least favorite competitive Mon, even though he has it on his team for WBE, and that's Manaphy. It's got to be one of my favorite Mons to use. It has a lot of special attacking options, and it has creative ways to set up. Like, I'm going to run Tail Glow almost every week. I don't have to, though. I can run Calm Mind sets and be defensive. I can run Choice Scarf. I can run defensive sets with U-Turn for momentum, but I'm going to run Tail Glow a lot and have creative ways to set up with it. And it would be basically the last chance I could use this Mon because, again, Legendaries are probably not going to be into the next game. So I drafted a lot of Grass and Electric deterrents. So for Grass types, I have Drapion, I have Darmanitan, Megalodios takes them on no problem. Even Archeops with potential flying move access. And Electric types, I have Ferrothorn, Latios, Dugtrio. So it's going to be hard for them to bring their Grass and Electric types. And even if they bring a couple of them, say, Manphy might not be as useful, but then Megalodios is a lot more useful because it doesn't care about Electric or Grass types. So it's a really cool combination of mons that I have here. And I'm super stoked to use this team. I do have to figure out my Z move users. I have 200 points, or 20 points if I've been looking at it. And I considered Mew in this role, even if Medium Z is banned. It's still really nice with it. But I didn't go with that. And Mew, obviously, is really nice. I was talking about the Rain Dance set was like the scary set early on, but it doesn't really need Z moves to still hit really hard. Especially if I have spikes up a Ferrothorn and Sticky Web support, I don't really need the speed. So instead I went with Z-Dug Trio, Z-Diancie, and Z-Archeops, which all three of them I feel like are great Z-move users. Z-Dug Trio hits super hard with Earthquake that might not be able to pick up kills normally otherwise. Z-Diancie is really cool because it has Z Heal Bell, so it can heal itself up full, which normally it can't do. And Z-Archeops is really cool to fire off a really powerful Head Smash or a Sky Attack without taking the bad side effects of both of those hits. So again, I'm really excited about this team. So here we go. Let's go Philly. Let's go Philly. Oh man, but I got my DS here, and where is my DS? Oh shit, I'm gonna have to find that. Oh man.